Greetings to you all. Zimbabwe should not look to outsiders to solve its problems. A lasting solution can only come from Zimbabweans. The international intervention is unnecessary and generally ineffective. Regionally, SADC and the AU have both failed us before. Let us Zimbabweans take control of our own destiny for once and find our own solutions. We cannot keep going back to Lancaster House whenever we have a crisis, wrote Justice Benjamin Baraza of ZUNDE. Negotiations between Nelson Chamisa and Emerson Mnangagwa do not constitute genuine national dialogue. Neither do discussions between MDC and Zanu PF, nor even with the inclusion of other political parties. A genuine national dialogue will be an inclusive dialogue among Zimbabweans who yearn to see a better Zimbabwe in their lifetime, regardless of who or where they are. I agree with you there. SADC leaders have led the country, the people of Zimbabwe, down by their acceptance of this Mnangagwa regime as legitimate. Of all people, SADC leaders had shown real resolve and foresight in trying to get the 2013 Zimbabwe elections postponed until democratic reforms meant to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections were implemented. If you go into elections next month, you're going to lose. The elections are done. They had warned Morgan Tsvangirai and his fellow MDC leaders. Not even one reform was implemented for the 2013 elections. And as SADC leaders had rightly predicted, Zanu PF rigged those elections. We also know that Mnangagwa refused to implement even one democratic reform in pursuance of his promise to hold free, fair, and credible elections in 2018. So it was no surprise that Zanu PF went on to blatantly rig the July 2018 elections too. The real shock was that SADC leaders have tacitly, not done so explicitly, endorsed the elections as having been free, fair, and credible. The volte-face from their own "the elections are done" position. SADC leaders have gone on to take it upon themselves to call for the lifting of sanctions imposed by the West on a select few ZANU PF leaders. Everyone with half a working brain knows that Zimbabwe's economic meltdown was not caused by sanctions, but mismanagement and corruption. The nation has failed to deal with these problems for 38 years and counting, in which the two have grown and spread into the killer cancers they are today. The nation has been stuck with this corrupt and tyrannical ZANU PF regime that has rigged elections to stay in power for all these years. It is all very well for you to say, let us Zimbabweans take control of our own destiny for once and find our own solutions. The question you must answer is who has stopped us doing so all these last 38 years? The simple answer to that rhetorical question is that the insatiable greed of our corrupt and incompetent political leaders on both sides of the political divide is what has stopped us. ZANU PF landed the nation into this mess, but it is MDC's incompetence that has helped keep us stuck in the mess. Justice Baraza, If it has been hard to get Zanu PF and these MDC politicians to admit they have failed and to open up the political system to allow meaningful debate and competition all these last 38 years, it is near impossible to do so now. The country's dire economic situation, for one thing, has made these politicians more desperate than ever to hang on to power at all costs. The real chance of Zimbabwe ever recovering from the political and economic mess the country is in is for the nation to implement all the democratic reforms agreed at the onset of the 2008 GNU. You will never get MDC alliance, much less ZANU PF leaders, to implement these reforms. And on our own, the ordinary Zimbabweans will never force ZANU PF and MDC leaders to give up political power, even for a day. We need all the help we can get to pressure the vote-rigging ZANU PF regime to accept it has no democratic mandate and therefore must step down. The Americans, the EU, the Commonwealth, and many other key nations and organizations have already condemned last July's Zimbabwe elections as a farce. We must build on that and ask them to follow this up with concrete and decisive action. The British have proposed to extend the targeted sanctions on ZANU PF leaders and those helping to prop up the illegitimate regime. That is a great idea. ZUNDE calls on Nelson Chamisa to show his good faith as well as political maturity by ceasing his protests against the legitimacy of the president and accepting that he has to enter into meaningful discussion with Mnangagwa and his government. Continued Paraza. ZUNDE wishes to see the creation of a free, democratic, peaceful, and prosperous Zimbabwe, characterized by good governance and the rule of law. We strive for ideals and accept realities. We work for an outcome that is better than it would have been if we did not get involved. Politics is the art of the possibility. So you think you are creating a free and democratic Zimbabwe by not just sweeping serious treasonous acts like rigging elections under the carpet, but we're still rewarding the vote-rigging thugs with absolute power. With thinkers like you, Paraza, it is little wonder Zimbabwe is in a real mess. Worst of all, with such naive and idiotic voters, what hope is there for the country ever getting out of this hellhole? Thank you for listening.